You're watching another great interview on Audio Inc. Radio. What is up? It's Anne Erickson with Audio Inc. Radio. It's time for another awesome show, and if you're new here, welcome. It's great to have you. Please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. The legendary Jeff Pilson of Foreigner, the End Machine, and many other bands is our guest. Let's get in.
Hey, this is Jeff Pilson of Foreigner, Dokken, End Machine, lots of other bands. Yeah, I've probably been in it if you know about the band. Anyways, you're listening to Audio Inc. Radio with Anne Erickson, my fave.
I'm here with the legendary Jeff Pilson. How are you?
I'm wonderful, especially now that I'm legendary. Wow.
You are legendary. So how have you been doing? First of all, this past year, it's been just so crazy and unprecedented.
No question about that. Well, I consider myself one of the lucky ones. I know a lot of people are really struggling on so many different levels. But, I've been home. So, I'm glad to be home. I've got my wonderful recording studio that, I love and have been able to spend so much time in and, been doing projects. So musically, I've been very happy and a lot of things going on. At home, I get to be home. So that's great. So for me, it's actually been okay, but I do recognize what's going on. I mean, we've been trying to raise money for our crew because our crew is, through no fault of their own, out of work. And so I'm very grateful for the situation that I'm in, but I'm very cognizant that others need help and that there's a lot of stuff going on. So it's kind of a mixed bag, really.
Right. No, it's very true. And that's so nice that you guys are raising funds for your touring crew because it's been over a year now at this point where everyone's been off the road. So
Yes, completely. And yeah, so and these poor guys, I mean, it's not like there's other bands they can go out with because nobody's going out. So they are absolutely out of work and it's
right.
terrible. I mean, these guys have families and it's really rough and I know lots of industries have that situation going on right now. So
Mhm.
it's like I say, I count my blessings, but which is why I feel all the more um inclined to want to help and see if we can raise money for anybody that needs it right now.
On a brighter note, you have the new record on the way with the End Machine, which is very exciting. So such a legendary kind of cast on this record and in the band with George Lynch and with Robert Mason. Tell me about your musical chemistry.
You know, our chemistry is just well, first of all, it starts with George and my chemistry, which has been, you know, 35 plus, no, getting awfully close to 40 years of really close connection chemistry wise. I mean, George. I mean, the day I first got together with George, we were supposed to go do something somewhere, and he walked into my house and he saw a guitar and he picked it up. We started playing. We wrote a song. I mean, that's how much our chemistry is. So my chemistry with George has been there from day one. And I've known Robert for close to 30 years, but we only really worked together. I mean, he'd done a couple things. George and I did a record in 2012, and he sang on that, which was kind of a cool little intro. But then he and I did a Warrant record together, I believe, in 2015. And that's when I really got to work close with Robert. I got to watch his writing. I got to watch, I mean, I knew he's going to be an amazing singer in the studio, but to watch his whole work ethic, and he's a hard worker. He's not only a great singer, but he is a great writer and really dedicated. So I knew that our chemistry was going to be phenomenal from minute one. But then now you throw in Steve Brown, who, on the first record we had Wild Mick Brown playing drums. And obviously the chemistry with Mick and George and I goes back so far and is so natural and feels so good. There was the question, what's it going to be like on this record? Well, by getting Steve, I think it was a brilliant move because Steve, his playing feels so much like Mick. He even talks like Mick. I mean, it's kind of strange, but he's just the perfect fit, and he's so excited to be there that it kind of rubs off on us a little bit. So I'm just so happy with the chemistry of the band. It's as strong as I could possibly imagine.
I kind of sense a little bit of a Dokken vibe when I listen, and
Sure.
I'm
Oh
wondering,
yeah.
yeah, do you feel kind of that Dokken vibe on this record?
Yeah, more so than the last record, especially. Part of that is conscious. I mean, there was kind of the, the record company was like, can you make it a little closer to that? And so we basically just said, you know what? Let's throw off let's not do any of that. We don't want to sound like what we already did thing, that a lot of bands do. Um, and so we just kind of let it be more natural, and that's how we got it. We just wrote stuff we liked, and it started turning into that. Um, George and I did write an awful lot of the music in Dokken, so it makes sense that there's going to be that. But we kind of, like I say, it was more unbridled this time, and it was really fun.
Is there one track on here that you cannot wait to perform live whenever concerts are back?
Well, a little bit Blood and Money, the opening track, the one that we did the video for, just because George's solo is really cool, and it's always fun to play those kind of speed metal kind of songs. But other than that, there's a song called Destiny. It's the final track on the record, and it's actually very involved. There's a lot of stuff involved, so it would be tricky to pull it off live. But if we ever do, I hope we try, because it would really excite me on a technical player level, and as a musical director, I kind of think in terms of how can we make this come across live. It would be an exciting challenge, and I'm hoping that can happen.
Do you have a favorite song on the record, period? Not just when it comes to performing live, but something you're extra proud of?
There's probably a couple. I mean, I think the song Plastic Heroes, I just love that song. And I love the song Destiny. I really do love that a lot. It it checks so many boxes for me, melodically and groove wise, and the riff that George has is just so cool. There's a lot of them. Scars the ballad. Robert just sang that so incredibly well, and I was really amazed at for the Japanese version of the record, there's an acoustic bonus track version of that song, and I'm really amazed at how well that came out because we really stripped it down, but it just came out amazing. And I think it's a testimony to, great vocal, great melody, and when that works, as writers, you can't beat that.
Yeah, and I think Robert, he does have such a great voice. I love to hear him on acoustic stuff because you don't always
Yeah.
hear that.
Right, right, right. And he does. He really delivers. I mean, he's the real deal. He's a real live rock singer frontman guy, without all the attitude. Just enough attitude to be cool.
Right. Awesome. Well, you're also involved with a little band called Foreigner.
Yes.
And I've heard that you guys are kind of I've heard that you guys are kind of working on a few new songs, maybe a little bit of new music, which is exciting. So what motivates you guys to keep putting out new stuff and not just kind of sitting back and playing the hits?
Well, like anybody, you want to be relevant. Mick Jones has a very open-eyed attitude about everything. He understands where the market's at. So for him, it's all about, well, these songs just got to be great. That's all. I don't think he's thinking in terms of, are they going to be a hit or whatever? Because who knows about that anymore. But making it great, and it's really fun watching Mick and then the rest of the band kind of react to that because it really ups your game. You have to really bring it to make something really special, and it's good for you as a writer. It's good for you as a musician. And as a producer, anytime I can be with Mick, I value because he's just such a brilliant, wonderful dude and such an amazing songwriter. And so what excites us is the music itself, and that's how it should be.
The other thing about Foreigner is that you guys have so many great fans over the years and they're so dedicated to you guys. What do you think it is about Foreigner? Is it the songs, the quality of the songs, or the personalities?
No, it's the songs for sure. Yeah, Foreigner was really never much of an image band, so uh, I would say it's definitely the music. You could talk to people on the street, and you may find a lot of people that don't really know the name Foreigner, but you won't find anybody that hasn't heard of Cold as Ice or Hot Blooded and stuff like that. So the songs and the music are more famous than the band, which is amazing because it gives us the ability to do this long-term touring and bringing it out there. It's just an amazing uh, collection of songs that Foreigner has. It's amazing. It really is. 16 top 30 songs.
Wow.
I mean, how many bands can say that? I mean, it's really special. So yeah, it's the music that's connected with people, and sure, people have fallen in love with personalities and all that kind of stuff over the years. But I really think it's the music, and I love that because I love the music too.
It's funny, you guys do have so many hits, and I totally thought you were in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It
Yeah.
was a given. I totally thought you were, and when I looked it up and you weren't, I was so shocked. Who do you think should be in, along with, of course, Foreigner? But what other bands do you think have kind of been overlooked?
Oh, Sticks to a certain degree. Well, to same degree as us. Um, um, I don't think Emerson, Lake and Palmer is in there. I think they should be too, because Yes is finally in, and that's great. But yeah, those guys should definitely be in too. I don't think Def Leppard's in yet, are they?
They just got in,
Oh, they did.
so
Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay.
it
Good.
took
They
a
should.
while.
Yeah, it did take a while, right? Well, there's that whole thing that you're not cool, and the critics and all that stuff.
What do you love about doing what you do for a living? I mean, you really are kind of living, a rock star dream or whatnot, to have a full career like you've had with so many
Yeah,
different really cool projects.
I love the fact that I get to make my living doing what I'm passionate about. That's something you can't take for granted and you can't overlook. The impact that has on your life is really huge. Um, I mean, I have this. I get to do this when I'm home, and then when I'm on the road, I get to play in front of people and lots of people and people that are excited about the songs we're doing. And um, listen, there's the downsides. There's the travel. There's sometimes lack of sleep and all that kind of stuff. But um, overall, the good so far outweighs the bad that I just feel like I kind of hit the jackpot.
Well, whenever live music is finally back in kind of a traditional sense, do you think
Yeah.
it's going to bounce back to how it was before, or do you think it's going to be weird and everyone will always be distant and stuff?
Well, I think they're probably going to have to transition in some form of social distancing and safety protocols. That's going to be part of the game for a while. Um, but I think people are going to be so anxious and excited to hear music again that even if you have limited capacity venues, they are going to be more than full. So I anticipate it's going to be pretty full on. Let's hope people are safe, because if they're not, then of course it's all going to get torn down again. So let's not do that. So let's be safe. Let's get the music back out there. And when it happens, I think we're going to be very, very, very appreciative of what's going on.
Are you thinking maybe by this summer things are going to start coming back, or do you think it might be too
Well,
soon?
Foreigner has shows booked at the end of May, and I think they're going to happen. They're in Florida, of course, which is sort of the Wild West right
Right,
now.
right.
They don't seem to care, but anyway, but I think that that's going to come off, and then we have some shows in June that are making up some shows that got postponed in April. I think those will probably likely happen, and then starting in July, we have full on touring for the rest of the year, and I do actually believe it will be back enough by then that those shows will happen. Again, not sure what the venues are going to be doing as far as social distancing and all that stuff, but my sense is they're going to do what it takes to make it happen because everybody wants it to get going.
Yeah, I'm starting to see some artists announcing tours for the summer and fall, even if they're the pod type tours, something kind of different.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to see that
Mhm.
something is happening for the first time in a long time.
Right, and I think that's the bottom line is people are starving for this, so between the agents, promoters, bands, crews, everybody else, they're going to figure out a way to make it happen somehow, and let's hope by summer.
So what else has kept you busy the past year? Do you have any like fun secret projects in the works?
Well, I did the Heavy Hitters record with George. That was actually the first thing that we did when the pandemic hit, and that was our chance to explore working remotely. Because even though George lives down the street from me, we were both freaked out. We're not the youngest of guys, so we wanted to be very cool about social distancing and everything. So we worked remotely but there's programs now where I can actually operate his studio from my studio,
Wow.
and then we talk on Skype, and we communicate on Skype and show each other things back and forth, and then record it. I record like I'm in the room practically, which is pretty cool. And having that Heavy Hitters record be our testing grounds for working remotely was really cool, because then when we went to do End Machine, then we had to actually write songs. Heavy Hitters was a covers record, um, so we didn't have to write. We had to arrange, which kind of involves something similar to writing. But for actual writing, we'd never done anything except for face to face in a room together. So it was different working remotely. But because we had that experience with heavy hitters, we really knew what we were getting into. So I mean, George and I wrote entirely the End Machine. The music is written entirely remotely, and then with the lyrics and melodies, a lot of times Robert and George and I would get on Zoom calls and do that. So we wrote almost all of it remotely, and recorded all of George's parts remotely. Robert did come here to sing, and Steve did come here to play the drums. But yeah, we had a lot of fun with that. So I did the heavy hitters, to answer your earlier question, and I've been doing a bunch of sessions here and there and doing some Foreigner stuff. Um, but I also have, Black Swan, the project that I have with Reb Beach and Robin McCauley. We plan on starting writing a second Black Swan record. And in fact, we wanted to start writing in January, but didn't think it was safe enough here in LA for Reb to come out, because Reb lives back east. But we're thinking April now for him to come out and start writing a second Black Swan record. So lots on the plate, lots of good things coming.
Well, Jeff, it's been awesome chatting with you. Thank you for making the time and good luck with everything. Cannot wait to see you guys back on the road, hopefully soon.
Me too, and yes, hopefully soon. Thank you so much, Anne. It's been great.